This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Welcome in, everyone, to Lively Lewis Stories.
That's right. We're back with even more awesome adventures with Levi and Ivy.
Set your storytime meter to fun and get ready to join the Lively Lewis crew.
All you need is your imagination and...
Off we go! I can't wait to see where our story takes us today.
Have you ever wanted to get more Lively Lewis in your life?
Well, we've got you covered.
Grab an adult and zoom over to livelylewisshop.com.
Or just click on the link in our show notes.
Enough about that. Let's get to today's super Lively Lewis story.
Brain Buzz audience, I'll ask you to stay very quiet while our contestants decide on their answer to our buzzer beater question, said Buzz Brainley, the host of the very popular kids show Brain Buzz. This one question is worth $100 and a year's worth of ice cream from the Sundae shop. So whichever team buzzes in with the correct answer first will be our big winner! Levi and Ivy were feeling the pressure of that moment, but they were staying calm. They focused on the question, ready to answer. Their opponents, Carl and Casey, did the same. Then, just before Levi and Ivy wrote down their answer, they took a deep breath and put into practice a strategy that they had learned days before when preparing for this very moment. But would it work? So many things could happen. Would Levi and Ivy answer the question correctly? Would Carl and Casey buzz in at the same time? Would they lose it all? Or maybe Buzz Brainley would just end the game early and give both teams free ice cream for a year. That last one was not likely to happen, but Levi and Ivy didn't want to rule it out completely. But I think for you to understand the importance of this moment, we should go back a few weeks to when it all began. The day that Levi and Ivy found out something really special. "We've been picked to be on Brain Buzz!" exclaimed Ivy as she ran in from the mailbox with Levi following close behind. They didn't normally care too much about the mail, but for the past few days, they had been very interested in seeing if a certain invitation was sent to them. It wasn't for a birthday party, a dance, or anything like that. Levi and Ivy were waiting to see if they got picked to be on their favorite show, Brain Buzz, a fast-paced trivia game just for kids. And lucky for them, they had found out that in just a month, the show would be bringing their Braze Buzzin' Around the Country tour to their town. Levi, Ivy, and all their friends in town were encouraged to apply to be contestants by sending in a video of them answering Brain Buzz questions. Levi and Ivy knew they wanted to do this immediately and started by creating their own version of the Brain Buzz set in their garage. Then they had their parents find a bunch of kid trivia questions on the Brain Buzz website and finally had their dad pretend to be the show's host, Buzz Brainley, in their video. They taped themselves as if they were on the game show and did a really great job. They emailed over the video to Brain Buzz Studios, and then all they had to do was wait. But today was the day, and the waiting was finally over. "Mom, Dad, can you believe it?" exclaimed Levi. "We're actually going to meet Buzz Brainley and be on Brain Buzz?" "That's so exciting. And a bit of a tongue twister," said Levi and Ivy's mom, giving her kids a big hug. "I knew you two would get picked," added Levi and Ivy's dad, high-fiving them both. "I'm not going to claim full credit here, but I don't think it hurt that I did a pretty amazing Buzz Brainley impression in your video." "Yeah, Dad, I'm sure that was the deciding factor," laughed Levi. "It says here that we have to go to a Brain Buzz orientation at our school this Saturday to familiarize ourselves with the game show set," said Ivy as she read the letter in her hands. So we won't be nervous the day of the show." "Us? Nervous?" "You and I are the best at Brain Buzz, and we stay cool under pressure no matter what. I mean, just look at how good we did in our video. That's totally why they picked us, because we looked like trivia game show professionals. We did stay pretty calm no matter how hard the questions got," added Ivy. "I guess you're right. We won't need to practice being calm on set, but we will get to see the team we're playing against." "It says that it's Carl and Casey. Oh, from down the street." Levi and Ivy both paused their excitement for a moment because they knew how smart Carl and Casey were. They were twins and seemed to always be in sync. It was going to be really hard to beat them. But Levi and Ivy were confident they would make it a really close game and would ultimately be the Brain Buzz champions. Levi and Ivy only had a few days before Sunday, so of course they started reading up on anything and everything that could possibly be asked on a kids' trivia show. Categories like science, animal facts, pop culture, the ocean, outer space, math, famous authors, and foods of the world, to name a few. As the days went by, they didn't so much talk to each other, but rather ask each other questions whenever they were together. It didn't matter if they were brushing their teeth, eating lunch, or taking out the trash. This was all you would hear. What's the chemical for water? H2O. What's a baby kangaroo called? A joey. Who was the first president of the United States? George Washington. How many inches are in 1 foot? 12. What's the name of the galaxy in our solar system? The Milky Way. What's 100 times 100? 10,000. Finish the name of this famous Shakespearean play, Romeo and Juliet. What do you call the Japanese dish combining veggies, raw fish, and rice wrapped in seaweed? Sushi. Levi and Ivy could not be stopped. When they weren't quizzing each other, they were reading up on everything they could think of. And as the days went on, they were both getting more and more confident that they were going to win Brain Buzz. Carl and Casey have no idea what they're up against, said Levi as he jotted down some notes about different dog breeds and how many types of penguins there are in the world. Levi, I got a really good question for you, giggled Ivy. Who's going to be the best kid team that's ever been on Brain Buzz? Buzz, buzz, said Levi, making the sound of the Brain Buzz buzzer. Oh, that's an easy one. The answer is you and me. Now, Levi and Ivy's parents were very proud of all the hard work that their kids were putting into preparing for the game show. But they just hoped that Levi and Ivy weren't getting too confident. They were also a little worried about how Levi and Ivy would react to being on a game show set, in front of a live audience and all those big cameras. The game show was going to be taped and posted on the Brain Buzz website to promote their Brain Buzzin' Around the Country tour. It was definitely going to be different than taking questions from your parents in a garage, or firing facts back and forth over cereal at the breakfast table. But Levi and Ivy's parents stayed positive, just keeping a close eye on everything, ready to jump in and help their kids if they needed it. Saturday had finally arrived, and Levi and Ivy were too excited to even eat breakfast. They couldn't wait to get to school and see the Brain Buzz game show all set up. It would be the first time they were seeing Carl and Casey too, since finding out they would be competing against them. In the car, Levi and Ivy quizzed each other all the way to school. Once they arrived, they jumped out of the car before their parents, walked inside, and ran right into Buzz Brainy. Glad to meet you, said a well-dressed, very energetic man in a bright green suit. Levi and Ivy would have recognized that suit anywhere and didn't need him to introduce himself. Oh my goodness, you're Buzz Brainly, exclaimed Levi and Ivy. Your first answer right. You're off to a great start, said Buzz. You're Levi and Ivy, right? They nodded their heads, not believing that Buzz Brainly actually knew who they were. Carl and Casey got here a bit early and they're already on set, said Buzz. Go over and say hi, and someone from my staff will get you all set up. Buzz then turned and walked into another room, leaving Levi and Ivy to process what had just happened. As soon as he left, someone from the Brain Buzz staff ran over to get them in their spots. They were taken over to a big stage and told to stand behind a podium with 2 bright green buzzers buttons on top of it. Their names were shining in bright green neon on the front of that podium, and it really all felt like a dream. A minute or so passed, and Carl and Casey walked over to say hello. The staff worker from the game show, whose name was Brittany, said hello too and introduced herself. She congratulated all of them for being chosen to be on Brain Buzz and went over how it would all work when they came back on Monday for the tape show. Now, there will be a big audience in these seats in front of you and 3 cameras set up. There, and there, Brittany said, pointing around the room. But the stage lights will be so bright, you probably won't even be able to see anything out there anyway. Don't be nervous. Just be yourselves and answer the questions the best you can. We're all here to have fun and learn a little something too. We're going to have a blast. Levi, Ivy, Carl, and Casey all smiled, nodded their heads trying to take it all in. In that moment, however, they saw that things on a game show moved very fast, and they all hoped they could keep up. We're going to do a run through now, so get ready for those lights. Oh yeah, the game show music is a bit loud too, so I like to warn kids about that also, said Brittany as she took her spot behind one of the big cameras. We'll start in 3, 2, 1. Brittany pointed to the side of the stage and out walked Buzz Brainly. And as soon as Levi and Ivy saw him, something happened that they could have not seen coming. They got really, really nervous. The lights, the music, the camera, it was a lot to take in all at once. So when Buzz started talking to them, they kind of froze up. Levi might have forgotten his name, and Ivy may have just blurted out an answer, the wrong answer, without pressing her buzzer first. Buzz kept firing off questions while Levi and Ivy tried their best to stay cool under pressure. Carl and Casey seemed to be doing fine, but even they were getting some easy questions wrong because of their nerves. "It's totally okay," said Buzz reassuringly. "Lots of kids get a little nervous during the run-through, but that's why we do it, so you don't get butterflies in your tummy on taping day. Just try your best and have fun." Levi and Ivy's parents watched all this happen from 2 seats in the audience and were ready to help if needed. When the run-through was over, they were getting Levi and Ivy back in the car. They asked how they were feeling. Levi and Ivy both confessed that they were overwhelmed, nervous, and scared that they were going to forget all they had learned when they played Brain Buzz for real on Monday. "You know, if you need any help or a pep talk or anything like that, just ask," said Levi and Ivy's mom as they walked from the car into the house. "We know, Mom," said Levi and Ivy. "All you need to know is that you're stronger together, and as long as you work as a team, there is no way you can be disappointed in your performance," said Levi and Ivy's dad. "Win or lose on Monday, you've made it this far, and that is incredible." Levi and Ivy knew their dad was right, and his words made them feel confident once again. They knew they had to use the next couple of days to form a strong team bond together, and in doing so, they could keep each other calm and focused during their big matchup against Carl and Casey. "Thanks, Mom and Dad," said Ivy. "Levi and I have some training to do. We'll let you know if we need anything, though." And off they went. For the next 2 days, Levi and Ivy were inseparable. They did everything together. This caused their brother-sister team bond to become stronger and stronger and their confidence level to go up, up, up. Knowing they had the other person there to rely on if they got nervous made them feel like they could take on any question that Buzz Brainley threw at them. Then before they knew it, it was Monday, and they were eating a good breakfast and going over some final questions before they left for their big game show debut. "What's the order of the planets from the sun?" Ivy asked Levi. "Mercury, Venus, Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune?" said Levi, sounding more like a question than an answer. "So close," said Ivy, reading off her note cards. "The correct answer is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, then Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune." "That's just the type of question that Buzz will ask in the final buzzer beater round," said Levi, sounding a bit defeated. "I have to figure out how to remember the right order." Ivy always had trouble with that question too, so she tried to think of a way for both of them to remember it. They finally decided on taking the first letter of each planet in its correct order and using those letters to start a word. Then they would make a funny sentence, and that would make it easier to remember. "My very energetic mom juggles 7 ukuleles nicely," Ivy said, laughing so hard that she almost couldn't get the words out. Levi laughed too, and they repeated the same silly sentence over and over again, remembering that the beginning of each word linked up with the planet's name. Mom for Mars, energetic for Earth, and so on. Knowing that they had done all they could to prepare, Levi and Ivy walked onto the Brainy Buzz set with their heads held high. The parking lot was packed with cars, and it was standing room only in the audience. It seemed like the entire town was there. Buzz Brainley welcomed Levi, Ivy, Carl, and Casey, saying, "Remember, the most important thing is having fun out there. Just pretend you're playing Brain Buzz in your living rooms at home and have a great time." Buzz's words put everyone at ease, but only for a moment. Brittany stepped forward and told everyone it was time to start and that they needed to get to their podiums. She told everyone to have a great show and started her countdown. 3, 2, 1. And just like that, Brain Buzz began. Levi and Ivy looked at each other as the loud music played, and Buzz ran out to the center of the stage to say hello to the audience. "We can do this," said Ivy. "Together, we can do anything," added Levi. And after saying hello to Buzz, the first question was asked. Then the second, the third, and so on. Levi and Ivy were doing great answering the first 3 questions right and adding points to their score. Carl and Casey, however, were a little faster with their buzzer for the next couple of questions, and the game was heating up. It stayed like that for the rest of the show. And once the final question was asked, the 2 teams were all tied up. The only thing left now was the buzzer beater. And this is where our story began. Brain Buzz audience, I'll ask you to stay very quiet while our contestants decide on their answer to our buzzer beater question, said Buzz Brainly. This one question is worth $100 and a year's worth of ice cream from the Sunday shop, so whichever team buzzes in with the correct answer first will be our big winner. After cheering each other on for the whole game and staying positive no matter if they got an answer wrong, Levi and Ivy felt like an unbeatable force. The game show took a break before the final buzzer beater question, and Levi and Ivy had a chance to talk. No matter what happens next, Ivy, I'm so proud of us, said Levi. I feel the same way, Ivy answered. Even if we lose, this is such an incredible experience, and I wouldn't have wanted to share it with anyone but you. Levi and Ivy weren't able to talk to their parents during the show and couldn't really see them sitting in the audience because of the bright lights. So while they had a minute, they tried their hardest to see if they could spot them. There they are, Ivy, called Levi, pointing into the crowd. They both waved to their parents, letting them know that they were doing great and not nervous like before. Levi and Ivy's parents waved back, so happy that their kids were enjoying themselves. Brittany gave everyone a wave and told Levi, Ivy, Carl, and Casey that they were going to start again in a few seconds. She counted down once again, and Buzz ran back out onto the stage. Let's all have one more big round of applause for these two incredible teams, said Buzz, clapping right along with the audience. We're now ready for our final buzzer beater question that will determine the winner of our game. Good luck, everyone, and listen carefully. Buzz then went on to tell Levi, Ivy, Carl, and Casey that once they heard the question, they had to write down their answers on their answer board. Once their answer was written down, they had to press their buzzer. If that team had the correct answer, they'd win it all. But if they got it wrong, the other team would share their answer for a chance to win. A new question would be asked if both teams got the answer wrong. At that point, all of Buzz's words were running together, and Levi and Ivy wished he would just ask the final question. The anticipation was almost too much to take. They couldn't help but wonder if it would be a question they had studied up on or something they would have to guess at. Only time would tell, and that time was now. Okay, teams, the final buzzer beater question is name the plants in their correct order from the sun. And your time starts now, said Buzz as some suspenseful buzzer beater questions music played in the background. Now, to anyone in the audience, it would have looked like Levi and Ivy were completely shocked by the question. Maybe it even looked like it was a question they had no idea how to answer correctly. But those people would have been wrong. Levi and Ivy looked at each other in complete disbelief, as this was the question they'd been waiting for. Then, in a move that really surprised everyone, Levi and Ivy started laughing. Thinking of that silly sentence to remember the order of the planets from the sun is making me laugh, giggled Levi. Me too, laughed Ivy. But we have to concentrate and write down our answer. We're so close to winning, Levi. Let's not mess it up because we got a case of the giggles. Levi nodded and grabbed a marker while Ivy recited the silly sentence they had created. And as Ivy slowly said the sentence, Levi wrote out the planets in the perfect order. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Or as Levi and Ivy remembered it, my very energetic mom juggles 7 ukuleles nicely. Levi and Ivy looked over at their answer one last time, and then, just as they felt their fingers touch the top of their bright green buzzer, they heard a loud sound coming from Carl and Casey's podium. What? Oh no, they buzzed in before us, Levi whispered to Ivy, looking so disappointed. Oh no, all the hard work for nothing, Ivy thought to herself, until she remembered something very important. Levi, we still have a chance if they get it wrong, and even if they don't, we know we got it right and we had fun today. You're right, Ivy, said Levi. Let's see what happens. And all they could do at that moment was wait to hear Carl and Casey's answer. Buzz Brainly walked over and congratulated them for hitting the buzzer first as he picked up their answer board. Your answer is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, said Buzz before taking a pause with a sad look on his face. I am so sorry, but that is not the correct answer. Then he turned to Levi and Ivy, who could barely control their excitement at that point. They got it wrong, Ivy. We're gonna win. We're gonna win, whispered Levi to his sister. Levi and Ivy, you have a chance to win right now if you have written down the correct order of the planets from the sun, said Buzz as he looked at their answer board. And even before he read out the answer, Levi and Ivy watched as the corner of his mouth turned up just a little bit into a tiny smile. Your answer is correct! Levi and Ivy, you are our big winners on this episode of Brain Buzz, exclaimed Buzz Brainly as Levi and Ivy jumped around the stage before going over to congratulate Carl and Casey on a great game. Buzz called Levi and Ivy to the center of the stage as Carl and Casey walked over to the side with Brittany. That was one of the best games of Brain Buzz I've seen in a long time, said Buzz. You were both very strong teams, and it just came down to our last buzzer beater question. Tell me, did you have a special way of remembering the orders of the planets from the sun? Levi and Ivy's parents had been asked to go up on stage with their kids and were standing next to them, giving Levi and Ivy hugs when Ivy and Levi started laughing at Buzz's question. We do have a special way of remembering the order, Buzz, said Ivy. It was just one silly sentence that helped us win it all. And that sentence is, my very energetic mom juggles 7 ukuleles nicely, said Levi, laughing hysterically. Buzz started laughing as well and had to ask Levi and Ivy's mom if that sentence was accurate. I can juggle 5 ukuleles, but I've never tried 7, laughed Levi and Ivy's mom, going along with the joke. I want to say thank you to everyone joining us here today for our special Brain Buzzing Around the Country tour, said Buzz. A special thank you, of course, to Carl and Casey and to our winners, Levi and Ivy. Here is your $100 check and your gift card to a year's worth of ice cream from the Sunday Shop. And from everyone here at Brain Buzz, we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned a little something too.
And since we know everyone has their own story, we'd love to hear yours.
If you have an idea for a Lively Lewis story, leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, your idea, and your little one's name.
Then maybe our next adventure will be with you.
Until our next Storytime Hangout.
Thanks for listening. We can't wait to share another fun Lively Lewis story with you.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.